Wow, what an incredible thing is life, the world, reality. Now there are, what, 7 billion, 8 billion? Where will it end? And what is absolutely fabulous, really, is that every great idea that I got involved in is now preserved in some fashion on the internet, even if most of them afterwards turned out to be bullshit. And so it is with all of human history. The Civil War in Britain, well, 12 Years' War. What was that all about? Men superficially arguing with each other as to which way you should worship Jesus, but appropriating each other's property, killing each other, sending the defeated into slavery in America. Nobody in history ever had so much leisure to take advantage of so much information about history recorded by scholars who are getting brighter and brighter every day as they exchange with each other that which was formerly difficult to publish. You see what I mean? Things that were secret for hundreds of years are now on display to anyone who can fool the internet into believing that they're 18. And any kid that can't do that can do it when they're 18. Access all that stuff that was used to enslave and control the population of the planet. Usually what happened is that the latest champion coming along to free us from the last tyrant has got his own form of madness to replace it with. There's hardly a notable character in history that wouldn't fail an honest examination of sanity. Sanity, reason controlled by compassion. That's what I would call sanity. Love under will. Well, that might be the other way. Yeah, right, love under will. Compassion and reason. But you won't make a fortune with that in a world where fortunes are made by enslaving people and keeping them in enslavement by keeping them ignorant. So, I've got to keep the faith, fingers crossed, that some of the children that have been born since the millennium, like my son, must be super bright from an early age, because I know that for years I've been sharing what I could convey simply to children and I have found it very easy to learn from children. So, some kid that was 10 years ago is now 16, probably at college because they're putting up the leaving age, and thereby, no matter where you come from, who your parents are, or what sect or cult or tribe you're born into, uh, all but exceptional cases can access the internet through public resources. Society is going through an enormous overhaul. I mean, what's actually happening is the human intelligence, the human brain, the internet is looking back over thousands of years at a whole avalanche of large events changing the world without ever having the time to stop and look back at any very closely. Now the whole lot is available for close scrutiny. That's like a planet waking up and going, what have I been doing? I believed in this, I believed in that. I had millions destroyed because I changed my mind on that. And then they destroyed that lot. It's a catastrophe. But it's like a very, very best entertainment pieces. A tragedy with humour, romance, courage, all the way through. Characters like my grandma struggling against horrible hardships and poverty while attempting to rear her children in a civilized fashion, learning cultural affectations that would improve their opportunities of ascending socially into a high position in the system. My grandmother was probably upper middle class, eyes on, upper working class. My dad had a iron foundry and a billiard hall. Freemason. Yeah, well, that's just making the jump up into the middle class. But she married a baker, my grandfather. That would be considered working class, although self-employed, which is a step up into the middle class. Right, so that's what I was. I was a genes that got up into the social classes above my origins. Yeah, there's a lot of heroes in history whom my grandmother used to darn holes in your socks until there was nothing left to stick a patch onto, you know. You kept replacing a thing till it fell to bits. You kept repairing it. What more like? Yeah, Grandma said, waste not, want not. She said, look after every penny and the pounds will look after themselves. And she was right. Don't waste. And you can learn a lot. Yeah, so I would say to younger people, my friends, educate yourself. Use this wonderful internet. It did not come easy, nor did the stuff that's on it. Millions and millions have been murdered. Millions have been enslaved. Millions have lived their whole lives in fear, horror, and a lot of crimes have gone uncorrected. Yeah. times are coming where things are getting sorted out. So I would encourage the younger person, learn how to spell, find a program that teaches you how to read and write English, accelerate your intelligence by driving it, what do I'm not really very good at? Well, I can't count up. Get a computer program that teaches me how to count. It's on there. All you got to do is learn to spell enough to type into Google. Yeah. And then maybe, and then get a program that teaches you how to type and spell. Use a spell checker. You get a lot more respect. What's more, you can learn how to spell, which will learn you how to read, which means you can use Wikipedia to improve your education better than what them teachers at school had that couldn't even teach you how to read and write. Yeah, well, you can get it sorted now. It didn't come easy, believe me, but you can get taught by the very best on the internet. Yeah, and learn the important stuff. If you think life is just a game, yeah, go on, Mortal Kombat, get in it. But it'd be better to study the whole big picture, because he who knows the past can create the future. And believe it, there are big forces in conflict at this point in time. Cork's been coming off the marijuana bottle at least since 1986 when I got involved. Yep. I ran around Europe with my brother, tooting the horn going, marijuana's good. What do you think, guys? Talking to Mossad and the KGB and MI6 and MI5 and Charité, and if you other guys in the intelligence community getting people stimulated on this subject, well, what happens if you don't think it's a guilty, naughty, wicked thing to do, but you think it's an illuminating thing that brings the enlightenment of discovering that which you long sought the answer to. You know what I mean? If you're one who really wants to learn things, marijuana allows you to make big leaps forward by taking out of the way such crazy ideas as you cannot make big leaps forward. Yeah, so I reckon you young people, I've sorted it out for you. It'll be trouble, but a clever one is the one that will survive. Good God, how many hundreds of years of slavery before black people were allowed to join the poor whites in the unemployed classes? Let's sort it out. Community service for all, I say, but it need to be done with some sort of profit motivation. That is, the people that do the best community service get the most money for it. But get the whole community on community service. You're gardening or litter picking or looking after old people or teaching or being a companion or holding the junkies' hands while they go through cold turkey and keeping them in a straitjacket for a couple of weeks, feeding them and doing the toilet functions until they can get totally off that gear. Yeah, there's a lot of community service to be done. What with enhancing the community, I suggest that we handle 2 or 3 things right away. 1, let's be more honest on the marijuana, and we want to be able to use it together in places where it's safe and public and non-discriminatory, except don't come to the party in a police uniform if you don't want. Sure, yeah, we need to sort it out on the marijuana, because I'm fed up paying out the very last of my life savings and my pension on dodgy, crappy gear that's not doing the trick. Yeah. And the other thing we should get sorted out is get everybody on the community service so that we get the economy running right. That means everybody has money to spend. They've earned it. I'm sorry, we'll have to take a harsher approach to the defective units. No, in this respect, I do agree with Herr Hitler. If it's socially malfunctioning from birth and it comes from stock that has always been socially malfunctioning, disassemble and don't let it procreate. But the rest, get them all a job. If they don't want education, give them simple physical labour. And if they really won't do that, have them breaking rocks. The other thing is, the culture wants to get away from the motor car. You really are killing yourself. I mean, going to town is now a dead experience, man. People park their car in one location of town, then walk a short distance, and then run back to their car. That is not a society. It's not a crowd. It doesn't meet your requirements for exchange between human beings. You know, what kind of organism has a blood system where you're only thinking about your own little capillary and you don't care about the rest? No, we need to be more cooperative. Get out your motor car. Let's just have public transport. Let's have entertainment and social life within walking distance of the home for everyone. Think about it. That's the way it always was in history. All your entertainment, spiritual requirements, education, social life, sexual interaction, and family was within walking distance. Let's get back to that. What's the news? Oh, he fell out his window. We've had a junkie die in this homeless hostel that I'm living in, but I don't think many people want to know about that. Yeah, and clean up the litter. That's the thing. You have got a fault in modern society. It's most noticeable in areas that were constructed 200 years ago. You know, this city, this beautiful city here, was the first big constructions were in the early 1700s, and then it came to a massive peak of construction about 1812 or something like that. But a lot of places were tight. Lots of people living in one narrow street. Now, you don't want motor cars parked up the side of the street. It kills the whole vibe of the place. It really does kill the whole social exchange, the pleasure of walking the street. It's not smart to come running out your door into a motor and drive away, and the only bit of the planet you ever touch is between your motor and your door. And living with your litter in the face all the time. Even posh houses have got wheelie bins and open crates for different kinds of plastic and metal and glass rubbish, which means that you've got rubbish spewing out of these buckets onto the pavement, leading to a whole social deterioration of people chucking rubbish out their motor cars as they drive past, and people on the street throwing their litter casually on the pavement and the road. Horrible environment for dogs and children. Disgusting. And it shows that the majority of the people utilising these beautiful, otherwise beautiful streets are not even aware of what they're seeing. They're not even aware of what's coming in through their eyes, or how good the food is. They don't even seem to notice how much they leave in the packet when they drop it on the street. Yeah, so you sort these things out, kids. Educate yourself. Don't expect old people to sort out the mess society's in now. Don't expect them. I know people that have been ignoring the truth for 30 years, you know? They're not going to turn around and say, oh, I was wrong all these years, yeah. No. Liberate the marijuana, get the real stuff going. We don't expect it to be moving around in big quantities, so it'll have to be a lot of little local networks of friends acting in a community. Nobody motivated by big profit. As I understand it at the moment, police in this country have been instructed to treat anything with less than 29 plants as for personal use. So obviously you keep it below about 25 plants. We're not doing it for money, but we want to get high together. So we also need to arrange social venues to get high together. And I hereby would advise my younger friends to completely get away from tobacco. Do not associate your cannabis with your tobacco. Do not do tobacco. Don't approve of tobacco. Don't do any more. Confess that you've already done damage to your body and hope you can recover. Just stop it. Stay on the marijuana. Improve the social meetings and cooperation and communion between people using marijuana and including families of marijuana users who do not themselves use marijuana, such as children, you know. You can't hide from them what the parents are doing at the parties. Especially if it's not tobacco. That's a clever idea. Yeah. And you can actually do well without the booze. Absolutely. So messy. Yeah, it's a reason for a lot of the mess on the pavement. It leads up to overwhelming levels where I think I'm not cleaning up this myself. You younger people better start cleaning up litter before I get there. I'm going to back at you. You live like this, pig. Yeah. So as I was saying, these are the three things we need to do is design. How do we get litter out of Victorian houses without there being a constant big ugly wheelie bin and the narrow pavement outside the door with litter spewing out of it, creating a general trend in the neighbourhood to leave old furniture, kitchen equipment and other litter all round the place. Yeah, we need to clean that up, be more honest, and provide employment. Oh yeah, and get rid of all these capitalist bastards and shoot all the police and lawyers that have been lying all these years about marijuana and slavery and all that. Take the wealth off the super wealthy and give it back to black and white alike. And put an end to poverty, but put an end to unemployment. We don't want to drag a whole lot of broken and useless and dead people along at the expense of the rest of the community. I know this is the one point in my philosophy that will have opposition. I'm saying, what will we do with the broken ones? Humane, compassionate euthanasia. And I think that you younger people, most of you will probably want out of it by 50, because by then you have done what you can do. I've only really hung around because I really wanted to make sure that the incredible heights that I've reached can be made available to anyone, because I believe we're all actually brothers and sisters. We're not equal. Well, I don't think anybody's superior to me, and I don't often talk down to anyone. I'm a jolly good chap. It has been fun being here. I used to be funny before I lost my sense of humour. They put me in prison and scandaled me falsely as a sex offender. But yeah, man, comedy was never a particularly happy profession, really. Think about it. Look at all the greats. I mean, the truth of life is sad, man. It's just a wonder that some of us managed to experience some pleasant, loving moments, or moments of clear reason, enlightenment. I think the best thing I did in my life is coming to assume a world viewpoint, which is I am the human race. What's best for me. I recommend it. It's terrible when the human race turns around and shits in your face, but that's paranoia, because it's actually only one or two evil bastards that do all the damage. But then again, celebrity goes to your head and also fixes you and doesn't allow you to continue to mutate as you go. I'm 62 years old. I can't believe it. I'm so tired. I gotta go to bed. This little dog might get me up again, in which case I might say more. Toodaloo. Oh, what fun it is to ride on a time travel machine. The human brain. Wikipedia tells you where to go.